Here's the thing. One developer tracked 100 plus message chat and found that 98.5% of all the tokens were just spent rereading old history. Not doing work, just rereading. That's the problem we're fixing today. So context is basically everything Claude can see at one time. Your system prompt, the full conversation, every tool call, every file it's read, every MCP server. Think of it like working memory. Claude Code gives you 1,000,000 tokens, but you're already burning around 8,000 before you type a single thing.
Nate opened a fresh session, ran context, and was already sitting at 62,000 tokens. 0 messages sent. That's just startup overhead from Claude.mini, skills, and MCP tools. Go check yours right now. It might surprise you.
Every single time you send a message, Claude rereads the entire conversation from message 1. So message 1 might cost 500 tokens. Message 30, 15,000. It's not adding, it's compounding. The longer the session, the more expensive each reply gets. Now, context rot. Think of it as AI dementia. As your session grows, the model's attention gets spread thin. It starts forgetting things, contradicting itself, editing files it hasn't even read. Retrieval accuracy drops from 92% at 256K tokens all the way down to 78% at 1,000,000. And here's the real cost. When the model degrades, your token efficiency tanks. You might spend 500,000 tokens on an output that should have taken 200,000. A bigger window doesn't mean better output. It just means more room for things to go wrong. Auto-compaction kicks in around 95% of your window. But that's the worst possible moment. The model is already at peak context rot. And when it compacts, you only keep about 20 to 30% of the original detail. You're losing a ton of important context right when you need it most. The fix is manual compaction. Do it at around 60% of your window before rot sets in. But honestly, Nate goes even further. When he's running Opus with the 1,000,000 token window, he never lets it cross 120,000 tokens. That's about 12%, way earlier than most people think. So after every single Claude response, Anthropic says you've got 5 options. Continue, rewind with /re, clear everything, compact the session, or spin up a subagent. Most people just hit continue every time. That's the habit that kills your session. Here's the thing. Re is Anthropic's #1 recommended habit. When Claude does something wrong, most people say, "That didn't work, try this." But that failed attempt is still sitting in your context, being reread every time. Re drops it. Gone. There's even a summarize from here option that writes a handoff note so Claude knows what worked. Now, the rule of thumb, clear for a new task, compact if you're continuing the same one. But Nate doesn't use compact at all anymore. He has a better system, and it's surprisingly simple. At around 120,000 tokens, he just asks Claude, "Give me a full summary of everything we've done and what we're about to do next." Then /clear, paste it in, keep going. It feels like you never reset. All the important context is right there. Decisions, files, next steps. He built a custom skill called /session handoff that does all of this automatically. It reads the session, analyzes it, and spits out exactly what matters. Decisions locked, what shipped, key files, open questions. Copy it, clear, paste it in, done. Clean slate with full context. And then there are sub-agents. Each one gets its own fresh context window, does its work, and sends back a result. Think of it like a research intern. You can even run them on cheaper models like Haiku. Explicitly say, spin up a sub-agent to review this, and your main session stays clean. So, practical tips. Watch your session limit constantly. Second monitor, always visible. And be strategic. If you've got 50% left and the window resets in an hour, abuse it. Spin up agent teams. Throw heavy work at it. Don't waste prime time. Convert everything to markdown. HTML to Markdown cuts tokens by 90%. PDF to Markdown, 65 to 70%. Even a docx saves about a third. A 40-page PDF can eat the same tokens as a 130-page Markdown file. Use something like Dockling to convert before you feed it to Claude. There's also BTW, by the way. It opens a quick overlay for side questions that never touch your conversation history. Deep in a project and need a quick answer? BTW it. Context stays clean. Boris Cherny, the creator of Claude Code, starts every single session in plan mode. Get the plan right first, then let Claude one-shot the implementation. Tokens spent on planning up front are way cheaper than tokens spent correcting a wrong approach halfway through. Claude.md discipline. Keep it under 200 lines. That's roughly 2,000 tokens loading every single session. Move specialized instructions into context files or skills that only load when needed. And use .claude_ignore to exclude anything Claude doesn't need to read. Now, the token dashboard. Nate built this himself. It shows sessions, turns, input tokens, output tokens, cache reads, cache creates, 7-day and 30-day views, broken down by model, project, and tool. You can finally see where your tokens are actually going. But the best part? You can pull up the actual prompts that burned the most tokens and figure out why. Sessions tab shows every session with turn counts and totals. Projects tab breaks it down per project. You stop guessing and start fixing the real culprits. There's also a skills section showing how often each skill gets invoked, and a tips section that surfaces file access patterns and bash command frequency. That's where you find the hidden drains, files Claude keeps rereading that you didn't even know about. Here's the thing about the million token window. When people hear a million, they get wasteful. They stop using subagents, stop being intentional. But that window is insurance, not a target. The first 20% of your session is prime time. That's where the best work happens. Honestly, start with the 200K context window. Learn the discipline first. Nate's 120K ceiling came from always clearing at 60% of 200K. He just kept that number when he moved up. Most people never actually need a million tokens. For big projects, chain sessions together like an assembly line. Session 1 is discovery. Read through the codebase and PDFs, create a summary doc. Session 2 is planning. Session 3 is execution. Each session has one job. That focus keeps context tight and performance high. Now, 10 open source frameworks that can cut token usage by 60 to 90%. Rust Token Killer, Context Mode, Token Savior, Caveman, Token Optimizer, MCP. There are 10 of them, but don't install all 10. Pick 2 or 3 that match your workflow. Here's the smart move. Give Claude Code the GitHub repos and ask it which ones fit your specific project. Let the model do the evaluation. It'll tell you exactly which 2 or 3 are worth installing for what you're building. Wait, the Caveman plugin, which makes Claude talk like a caveman to save tokens. Someone tested it. The savings were smaller than expected. Because the tokens you see in the chat window are only a fraction of total output tokens, there's a lot happening under the hood. And look, if you have a bad session, if Claude's gone off the rails, just clear it, open a new one, both for your sanity and for Claude's. Do these things consistently and you'll get more out of your Claude subscription than most people ever will. So the core habits. Use /e to drop failed attempts before they pollute context. Summarize and /clear at 120K. Chain sessions for big projects. Convert everything to Markdown. That's it. That's the whole system.